Okay, so I'll just be real with you guys about this. This is gonna be the summer of me reviewing movies late. Deadpool 2 review was late because of exams, Solo and Jurassic World 2 reviews are late because of travel, Incredibles 2 review will be late because I can't see it till I go to America for the summer, Ant-Man and the Wasp review will be late, again, because travel. I'm sorry, but just bear with me, cause it's a busy summer. That being said, now I've finally gotten the chance to see both Solo and Jurassic World 2, so I thought, why not review both in one video? So, here we are. I'll talk Solo first, and since it's been out for a while, full spoilers for Solo. If you don't care about Solo or don't want it spoiled, there's a time code in the description that'll take you straight to the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review, which will not have spoilers since that more or less just came out. Alright, spoilers for Solo, let's get into it. So I was pretty mixed on Solo as far as expectations go going in. On one hand, it had loads of production problems, on the other, the trailers looked pretty great. A few people said it was one of the best Star Wars films, a few said it was the worst. And after watching it myself, I can confidently say that I thought it was fine, which is exactly what I was hoping it wouldn't be. Quick side note here, that is relevant. I think Marvel has finally figured out that letting risky directors do something different or weird with their films actually yields good results. And yeah, it took them a bit to figure that out, but now they're here. Star Wars, I still think, is catching on to that idea, and I guess it might be gone for good now. My point is, whether or not it would have been amazing, Lord Miller's version of this film would at the very least be interesting and unique and bring something new to the table. And look, I'm not trying to be one of those people who gets caught up on how amazing a version of a film is that we haven't even seen. For all we know, that film would have been a train wreck. But my point is, it would have been, at the very least, an interesting-to-watch train wreck that took risks. Because what we ended up with was what I was worried we'd end up with. A totally safe, competent film that isn't really memorable at all to me. It has some great moments that stand out, it has some terrible moments that stand out, but overall I just found this to be mostly a nothing movie. And that's my biggest complaint with it. Look, there's still some good stuff. In fact, I'd say most of the movie is at least good. Alden Ehrenreich I've been rooting for because he was my favorite part of Hail Caesar. He was amazing in that, and I actually thought he did a good job here. He was charming, and for the most part felt like Han Solo. Even though sometimes, yeah, you might forget that this is supposed to turn into Harrison Ford in a few years. Donald Glover might be the best part of the film. You never forget who he's supposed to be. He has that charisma and charm. Yeah, if anyone's coming out of this looking good, it's Donald Glover. Woody Harrelson, for the most part, pretty great. And I also really like Paul Bettany. He doesn't do anything crazy in terms of acting, but as a villain, yeah, he was pretty intimidating. There are also a few standout action moments. That train heist in particular, I quite enjoyed. There are also moments that I think are genuinely incredible, scattered throughout this. The Kessel Run, for example, and a few scenes with Lando. There are some excellent shots, and I'd say for the most part, visual effects-wise, this is fantastic. The CGI, the practical stuff, the sets, all great. I also just love this Star Wars world and how massive it is. And I like seeing new locations with new aliens and that kind of stuff. Also, on the action, I should mention, I saw this movie in 4D, which I know might sound weird, but my cinema just added it and I wanted to give it a shot, and basically it's where the seats move with the movie and you get sprayed with water and get hit in the back or shot with little blasts of air in the back of the head, you know, when it corresponds in the film. So just know that there was that, but it didn't distract me from the actual movie. If anything, it just made some of the chase scenes a little cooler. But this is just for full transparency, so you know, there might have been a little bit of a weird experience in the action scenes at least. Still, don't think this affected my overall thoughts on the film in a major way or anything. Some of this movie I also really enjoyed when it starts to feel like a fun adventure romp. Once it gets going, it can even start to feel a little Indiana Jones in parts, which I loved. The problem is, those parts are scattered throughout the movie, and the rest can often drag. I also thought some fan service was really good, like some music cues when the Falcon shows up for the first time. There were references that were fun and or subtle that I enjoyed. However, there were some that were just so incredibly obvious and kinda cringeworthy. Like at a few points, the quote-unquote foreshadowing or references to what's gonna come later honestly kinda reminded me of the prequels.
Why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me?
And yeah, I guess I'm starting to get more negative here, so let's just full ahead go on to what I didn't like. Now, I've already talked about how my main complaint with this would just be how safe and lifeless it all feels, but I also have a few other negatives. Cast-wise, Emilia Clarke, I don't get it. Because I know she's a good actress. I've seen her be a great actress. So why is it whenever she appears in the film, she is not a great actress? To be fair, I haven't seen this one. Look, she wasn't terrible or anything, but overall her performance didn't sell me on her character, especially the darker aspects of her. Also, this is more of the writing's fault, I suppose, but she has some of the worst lines in the movie, especially towards the end. There's that one she has about smiling that felt incredibly unnatural, and also the "you're the good guy" part. I am willing to stack that more up to the writing, though. Speaking of good actors being bad, Woody Harrelson, like I said, I enjoyed throughout most of the movie, but his death scene was up there with Marion Cotillard from The Dark Knight Rises for me, in terms of it being unintentionally hilarious. And that thing he mentioned at the very start, wanting to play the space trumpet, or whatever instrument it was, as soon as he mentioned that, I was like, well, he's 100% gonna die, and he's 100% gonna mention that space trumpet right before he dies. And yep, that happens. That's not the only predictable moment. There are a lot throughout the film. Like at the end, oh, I wonder if Emilia Clarke's gonna stab Paul Bettany. Oh, yep, she totally just stabbed Paul Bettany. Also, on Woody Harrelson's character, I get that he's like this badass criminal kind of guy, and he's hardened to this sort of life, but he really felt like nothing after his wife died. Like 30 seconds after, he was like, alright Han, let's go do this mission. And considering how much they set that up, I just found that kind of odd. Maybe that's fitting though, because I also felt exactly zero emotion throughout nearly the entire film. Sort of relates back to the blandness problem for me. I just felt really nothing from this in terms of emotion, besides the occasional enjoyment or boredom. Boredom's an emotion, right? I mentioned this before, but on the whole, the movie is just kind of slow in parts. Like once it gets going, you know what, it's quite enjoyable. But there are just so many points where it drags, and I actually found myself sort of bored. It goes on for way too long. Like I thought the movie was going to end way before it actually did, and it just kept going and going. The third act also just sort of falls apart for me, and it's just betrayal after betrayal after betrayal, and it felt like the movie was trying to pull the rug out from under me, but I wasn't invested in really any of these characters, so it really just did nothing for me. In terms of smaller things, the humor didn't really work for me, and also, I know people get annoyed when you say this movie didn't need to be made, and look, if people enjoyed the film, then I'm glad it was made. I'm not going to wish that this be taken away from people or something. But at points, personally, I did just feel the pointlessness of it all. Like some characters and some things in movies, it's cool to find out their backstory, and then some things, I feel, are best left to the imagination. Part of what makes certain characters so cool is the stuff you don't know about them, and taking away that mystery is usually going to be anticlimactic. And in a movie that I didn't think was that exceptional, that certainly was the case. I mean, Han Solo is the coolest character in Star Wars to me, and you can imagine where he got his awesome gun and his awesome name and all that. And here, I think the part where I realized this is when he gets his name. He gets it from some Imperial officer. Okay, that's significantly less cool than most things I could have imagined. That's just one example. I'm just saying personally, of all the things to make films about in Star Wars, I think Han Solo's origin wouldn't be the top of my list. Han Solo Adventures? Sure thing. But explaining how he came to be, ironically, sort of takes away a bit from the character for me. So overall, I think Solo is the most average of these latest Star Wars films. It doesn't quite feel like a totally empty corporate product, because of a few standout moments and performances, but it's closer to that than I was hoping it would be. I got a kick out of some of it, both the unironically good and the unintentionally funny, but all in all, this isn't something I think I'll ever revisit. I'll give Solo a 7 out of 10, and yes, I know some people will say that sounds way too high considering what I just said, but for me, that's a very average grade, for what I found to be a very average film. Alright, so now we're moving on to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. No spoilers, don't worry. Let's get into it.
Genetic power has now been unleashed.
You can't put it back in the box.
My expectations for this weren't super high. I mean, I enjoyed Jurassic World, it's a good fun time, but I don't think it's the best film ever or anything. And a lot of the trailers for this did not look that promising. But hey, this franchise is mostly solid so far, and the director's pretty good, so medium expectations. And I guess they were met? This is a bit similar to Solo in the sense that I thought it was alright. I liked and disliked different things than I did in Solo, but again, yeah, I thought it was fine. Look, cast-wise, this is pretty good, and I will say, minor spoiler here, if you care, like, how long is certain characters in this film, if you consider that a minor spoiler, then yeah, minor spoiler. You can skip to this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So anyway, Chris Pratt is back, and he's still pretty fantastic. He's one of those modern movie stars. Bryce Dallas Howard is pretty solid, the new girl is good, and that comic relief guy who was in that Paper Towns film didn't get as annoying as I initially thought he would. Some of his parts actually made me chuckle, although occasionally he did get a bit too over the top. Then, that minor spoiler, just saying, Jeff Goldblum is in this for about 2 minutes max? Which I mean, I guess shouldn't disappoint me, but it just left me wondering, why reveal that in the trailer? That could have been a really fun surprise cameo. Instead, you've shown like the majority of his lines in the trailer. Visual effects wise, most of this is pretty outstanding, and this also has some fantastic shots in it. Like visually stunning shots, worthy of being on that One Perfect Shot Twitter account. And yes, that's how I'll compliment shots sometimes from now on. I also like the ending, even though it's pretty ridiculous and contrived how it all gets there. But the way it sets up for a third film, no spoilers, but I'm genuinely interested to see how this concept for a third film would play out. The thing is though, it's just not a memorable film to me. Like I saw it and I was like, alright, that was a movie. It had some fun standout moments, but overall, it just felt totally fine to me. Nearly everything played out exactly how I expected it to. And yes, part of that might be because we saw a lot in the trailer, but even the stuff beyond what we saw in the trailer, I was like, this, and that are gonna happen, and yep, exactly that happened. The only thing that caught me slightly off guard was that ending. The new big dinosaur in this didn't particularly impress me. There are some really stupid moments, and moments that make no sense, but hey, the Jurassic Park films have those quite a bit. Some character stuff I didn't really buy. Like, I don't really buy that the Bryce Dallas Howard character would care so much about dinosaurs now, to the extreme degree she does in this film, even after everything she learned and experienced in that first movie. The movie also gets very repetitive, like, especially in the final act. It's just screaming and explosions and dinosaurs creeping up and then a dino jump scare, and that just keeps happening over and over again. And I just wasn't really engaged in it. I can understand why a lot of people will find this fun, and there were a few moments that stood out in that finale that were kind of interesting. But ultimately, at points, it sort of developed into just noise for me. I know I might sound like an old grandpa here, but really. I was watching all this crazy stuff happening and I was thinking, I shouldn't be disinterested in all this that's going on, but I sort of am. Overall, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a movie that I saw and then remembered very little about the next morning. I'm glad I took notes the night I saw it, because otherwise I wouldn't have had a lot to say. And even now, not that much to say. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but for a big summer popcorn movie, yeah, it's pretty good. It's got likable leads and good visual effects and all the dinosaur action you could ask for, and some genuinely great moments. That opening scene, for example, I thought that was awesome. For me personally, it just wasn't really anything special, and it's not a film I'd say you have to run out and see. I'll give Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom also a 7 out of 10. Average grade for average movie that was average for somewhat different reasons. So those were my thoughts on Solo and Jurassic World 2. What did you think of these? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, check out this podcast about movies and TV and whatnot I do every other week with a friend of mine, it's called The Poorly Planned Podcast, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.